Rob Caughlan's speeches and lectures are based upon 40 years of experience as an environmental activist and a communications professional, both rallying citizens to action and advising in the halls of power. Vanity Fair magazine recently dubbed him as one of the Golden State's eco-warriors, and bringing political and media skills to the environmental movement has been one of his greatest environmental contributions.
The reason that I've been involved in the environmental movement for the last 30 years is because of my love of the ocean.
Caughlan started surfing before the Beach Boys wrote their first tune. He was the first president of the Surfrider Foundation, and under his leadership, the foundation grew from 200 members to 25,000 members.
One of the ways we recruited new members in the Surfrider Foundation was we said, look, if you send us the $25, you don't have to come to any meetings.
In what was called the classic Gidget versus Goliath story, they fought and won the Battle of the Black Wave.
There was a great surfing wave up there near the Oregon border in Humboldt County. The only problem was the wave was turning black. There were these two giant paper pulp mills on the beach that were the culprits, and that we had to think about taking them to court. The day that Mark, my lawyer, turned 30, we won the second largest clean water action in American history. The media went crazy with the story because nobody could believe that surfers could do anything functional. We were in National Geographic, People in Penthouse, all in the same month.
Caughlan's funny and poignant personal accounts effectively engaged his audience. His humble demeanor, despite extraordinary accomplishment and foresight, gives him a type of credibility we don't often see in these sorts of lectures.
As a political professional, Rob Caughlan has worked behind the scenes as a speechwriter and media advisor to U.S. Senators Dianne Feinstein, Jay Rockefeller, and Alan Cranston. He served on the staff of Assemblyman and Congressman Leo J. Ryan, who as a congressman was assassinated while investigating the Jim Jones People's Temple cult in Guyana, South America. He was the co-founder of Friends of the River and California chairman of Conservationists for Jimmy Carter. Caughlan worked for Carter for 4 years as a special assistant, first at the Environmental Protection Agency and then in the White House. He served on the White House Task Force on Solar Energy and produced an award-winning film on solar power. He served as an EPA representative for the Global 2000 report, the first and only time the federal government has tried any long-range holistic trend analysis. Caughlan served for 6 years as spokesman for the California Department of Fish and Game's Endangered Species Program.
We've made a lot of progress since the first Earth Day. Bird species have been coming back strong. The peregrine falcon, the American eagle, and the pelican have all been taken off the endangered species list.
Rob Caughlan had us in the palm of his hand. He is a natural storyteller. Our students connected with his humor and knowledge and his obvious concern for our planet.
I think that homeland security is very important. I think that home planet security is very important too.
Caughlan has produced several television documentaries about critical environmental issues. Voice of the Planet was a 10-hour series about the big issues in the Global 2000 report. It starred William Shatner and Faye Dunaway and ran on Turner Broadcasting.
When Julius Caesar was the emperor of the world, there were only 170 million people on the entire planet.
Caughlan traveled to Egypt to produce Future in the Cradle, an award-winning film about population.
Population is the great driving force issue behind practically all of our environmental problems. I went to Egypt a few years ago to produce a television show about the United Nations Population Conference.
The environmental consequences are manifold. At this rate of growth, food and water supplies can't keep up with basic needs. The level of human suffering is already staggering. Every day, 35,000 people, mostly children, die of starvation.
Caughlan's most recent television production is about the life and times of Pete McCloskey, the co-founder of the first Earth Day. It's narrated by Paul Newman.
Walter Lippmann's social philosopher said, public service is a spirit that makes old men plant trees that they'll never sit under.
Sometimes you get accused of being idealistic. for being concerned about these issues. Now, to me, saving the planet doesn't seem idealistic at all. It seems kind of like hardcore survival-oriented pragmatism.
Teddy Roosevelt, one of the early environmental leaders in this country, at the beginning of the last century, ranted and railed about many things, but one of the things that he ranted and railed about was people that he called the timid good. These are good people, but they just don't want to roll up their sleeves and get their knuckles bloody in the rough and tumble world of politics. He said what we needed was gritty idealism. I agree with that.
A wonderful presentation. There was only positive feedback about how down-to-earth, relevant, and inspirational you were.
Carl Schurz, he was a United States Senator. He was a good friend of Abraham Lincoln's, and he was called idealistic because he wanted to abolish slavery. And they said, Carl, you can't abolish slavery. There's always been slaves. They built the pyramids with slaves. You're much too idealistic. You're way out there. And Carl Schurz's response to that kind of criticism was, I think, great life attitude. He said, ideals are like stars. You'll never succeed in touching them with your hands, but like the seafaring man on the desert of waters, you choose them as your guides, and following them, you will reach your destiny. As the Hawaiian surfers would say, mahalo, thank you, and aloha.
Emory University students packed the house. His attitude and vast experience turned on the crowd. It was fun and inspirational.
Dynamic, funny, and inspirational. Participants commented that it felt like he spoke to them as individuals,